Well, thank you, Kara. And as Kara said, today's topic is on model-based testing of safety-related software. I'm sure that all of you have read the abstract for today's presentation. I'm going to hold pretty true to that. I'm going to change the order a little bit. The demonstration that I'll be showing will be towards the end of the presentation. So let's go ahead and get started. The flow here is going to be, I'll first talk a little bit about the different safety critical application standards. I'll talk about the rational solution for safety critical development, just provide a brief overview of that. And then I'll get into the model-driven development aspects of that. So the rational solution for safety critical actually encompasses more than that. It gets into the process guidance and enacting that process guidance. And of course, enacting that, a big part of that is the model-driven development piece and the testing piece as well, which is what we're going to be focusing on. And then we'll talk about what some of the aspects of certifying Rhapsody generated code. So the solution that we're going to be talking about today is model, requirements-driven testing, but with Rhapsody. So we'll be using Rhapsody for generating source code from the model. That's the model-driven development part. And then specifically, we'll get into the model testing with model-based testing with Rhapsody TestConductor, and that will include a demonstration, show you around, and hopefully that will, if you haven't seen any of this yet, will give you a nice taste of the solution and encourage you to look for more information and talk with us further. So let's go ahead and get started. Just a little bit about what is safety critical development. So safety critical systems are systems whose failure can create a hazard that can result in an injury or loss of life. So we need to take care in developing safety critical systems to not allow this to happen. And to ensure that we have, to ensure the safety of our systems, there's several different industry standards that have been established by different certification bodies such as the FAA, the FDA, the TÜV in Germany, to ensure that we're meeting the objectives and process guidelines that these systems are safe and reliable. And what's typical is that the certification body does not verify the product itself, but it verifies the plans, the processes, and the guidelines that are being followed. So you're guilty until you prove that you're innocent, that you're actually following all of these processes. The certification requirements are specific for each individual project, and then every project may have its own unique certification requirements. There's several different industry standards. One of the most common ones, maybe the one that's been, certainly the one that we tackled first was D178. Rhapsody's been used quite heavily in the aerospace and defense industry and also the automotive industry. Those are probably the two biggest ones, and what's growing rapidly is rail and transportation. But there's other standards as well. So this just gives you a taste of them. The samples that I'm going to be using today are primarily from D178. That's where my primary experience is. But just the examples. What I'm going to be talking about, though, really applies to all of these industry safety standards. Something that's also pervasive with software development these days is to follow certain coding standards. And the ones that are probably the most common now are MISR-C and MISR-C++. Rhapsody supports MISR-C and C++, generating compliant source code. So increase of software in aerospace and defense. Well, this chart in a nutshell is showing that as time has gone on, more and more source code, more and more software is being used in our systems, and here we have aircraft systems. So I've worked myself with the F-35 program, and they're using C++. So the samples that I'll be using today are C++ samples, but really what I see being used in the industry is I'm seeing C and C++ being used primarily, and then also there's, of course, quite a few programs, probably more so in Europe these days, that are doing ADA development still. And Rhapsody supports C, C++, and ADA